Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. The long-awaited sequel to my favorite game of all time, Persona 5 Strikers, has just reached the US about a week ago. Needless to say, I've been playing this game non-stop since opening night, and I already have so much I want to talk about. Right off the bat, there will be no spoilers in this review of Persona 5 Strikers. If you want to hear my thoughts on the story in a separate video, go ahead and leave a comment to let me know that you would want to see that. So, did the sequel reach the high expectations that the original gave me, or was it a misfire for how different it can feel? Without further ado, let's dive right into my review of Persona 5 Strikers. Persona 5 Strikers is a direct sequel to the original Persona 5 released in 2016. It's got all of your favorite Phantom Thieves returning for one more big adventure, and let me just say, it's great to see them back. This time, instead of being bound to the streets of Shibuya, Joker and his friends are on a road trip where we finally get to see the world outside of Tokyo. However, this isn't the relaxing getaway that we all expected, because no matter where the Phantom Thieves go, corrupt adults are sure to follow. While there are tons of similarities to the original game, it's a crossover with the Dynasty Warriors franchise. So rather than having the classic turn-based style of combat, the battles go for more of a hack-and-slash mob rush approach to enemy encounters. We have seen this kind of thing done before in the Zelda series with Haru Warriors, but it's a great change in pace, especially for fans of fast-paced action. Something I want to get out of the way to start us off is the accessibility of Strikers. I can only assume that this is not an easy game for new players to get into. The original Persona 5 had hundreds of hours explaining all the intricacies and inner workings of the world and its characters, and I have to guess that this is going to be very confusing for people trying to start their adventures in the metaverse here. As many of you know, this is the first Persona game that will be released on the Switch, and as much as this fact gets me excited for the future of Persona and Nintendo, there's still a barrier of knowledge in this game. Being on Switch opens Strikers to a ton of new players to the series, which is great, but also kind of a mistake. I can already picture people wondering why they should care about any of these characters. I think that a solid 60% of Strikers is the story, and without knowing the background of what's going on, it can feel kind of foreign to new players. There are so many moments from the original that are referenced rather than explained. That being said, if you have played the original, the story in this game definitely holds its own. The writing is just as strong as the first, and with the introduction of the characters from Persona 5 already out of the way, there are so many possibilities of where the story can go from here. Luckily, the route that they took the narrative feels natural and anything but forced, making for a very nostalgic experience. The new characters are super fresh and likable too, especially Agent Zenkichi, he's just the best. All of the villains are super interesting as well, and you may even find that some of them are layers deeper than the palace rulers from the original game. There's so many great moments here, but again, I can't stress enough, these moments probably won't hit with the same effect if you haven't played the original. Also, a side comment, there's definitely something off with the sound mixing in Strikers. The music is incredible as always, and I'll get into that with more detail later, but the voice acting can feel pretty drowned out. As I understand it, a lot of the voice work was done by the actors at home during quarantine, but I don't think that's the issue here. It really has to be a problem with the mixing. For example, Yusuke in particular has countless lines that are completely drowned out by the music, and I really think this could have been fixed in post. It's not the worst thing to complain about, but it still became very noticeable and took me out of the immersion constantly. So let's talk about the biggest change to the series, the combat. I want to mention how there is much more depth to battling than I expected. Yes, like other Warriors games, your bread and butter are simple button mashing combos, but there is a ton of variety in playstyles, especially when switching between the different Phantom Thieves. Joker is very quick and stylish as you can imagine, but then you have party members like Noir who is slower but hits much harder. Even though I preferred some fighting styles more than others, Strikers always encouraged me to try new characters because of the stamina management. Keeping your team fighting is easy when you have the items to heal, but when it comes down to it, you really have to be trading out who you use all the time. On the bright side, switching out your thieves is quick and easy, and the menu UI is somehow even cooler looking than the first, so I don't really mind pausing battles every now and then. What surprised me most was the boss fights. I wasn't sure how they would function with the new combat, but they work really well when you put your personas to good use. There's also a new added skill tree, which kind of takes the place of the confidant ranks from the original game. Overall, the combat here is super flashy and fun to play around with. and oftentimes I found myself hunting for enemy encounters just to get a little action in quiet moments. Instead of fighting through palaces like the original, this time around you are forced to explore jails, which are pretty much the bigger version of the palaces. These jails fit the aesthetic and theme of the game very well, and adventuring each corner of them feels very smooth and entertaining. You can zip between ground battles, to lampposts, to the tops of buildings, and it actually really reminds me of the exploration in the Batman Arkham games. Battling thousands of enemies at once in a massive city is breathtaking to experience, and it wouldn't have worked as well if they used the classic palaces. Also, the skateboard mechanic is super cool. As always, the music in the Persona series is the biggest highlight in the game for me. In Strikers, the music team came back stronger than ever. Each theme is a great mix of the old acid jazz music we love from the past games, mixed with the vicious electric guitar riffs that make warrior games special. I'm just gonna go out and say it, You Are Stronger is a better song than Wake Up, Get Out There. Sorry, but it's true. This song has been on repeat since I first heard it. Funk and jazz mixed with a little hard rock is the name of the game here, and it's a mix that I never imagined would work so well. So the final verdict, Persona 5 Strikers is definitely a worthy sequel to the series. At times, it feels like you're right back in the original game, and yet it still has that flair of fresh excitement and wonder to keep things interesting. Although it can feel unpolished at times, it's fast, it's emotional, it's action-packed, and most of all, it's stylish. I'm going to give Persona 5 Strikers an 8 out of 10. So what did you guys think of Strikers? Did it hold up to the first? If you haven't played the original, what did you think of this one? Let me know in the comments below. Before I end things, huge thanks for all the support on the channel. I seriously cannot put into words the joy it brings me when I see that you guys like my videos. Subscribe if you're new here, I'd love for you to join us. As always, keep gaming to the fullest, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.